Ainsley, so our state of the market for June 26.
Yes. Yep. Can you believe we're halfway through the year?
We're there, and we're
Yeah,
flying through.
we're flying. Okay, let's start with the normal state of the market. When does the RBA meet next? It's not for a bit, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the 11th of August. So, yeah, so feels like 2 months away, but I guess it's not quite that. So, about 6 weeks
Yeah.
away. So, currently, with the data that we look at, I think it's a 19% chance of a rate rise then. So, and I guess I should mention that the rates didn't go up this month. So, that was a nice reprieve.
That was
And
lovely.
all going well, there won't be a change in the August meeting as well. So if that happens, there'll be a couple of meetings in a row without change. And I think a bit of stability will be good for a lot of us, mortgage payers, and a lot of, anyone with a mortgage in the country, really.
Yes. And I think that stability is helping with the market as well, not just people, managing their budget, but the property market.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So I might just move into investors then, just following with some of the change, or the changes that were proposed in the budget recently. Now that they've passed through Parliament, and whether people are a fan or not a fan, and a lot of people not being a fan, but now that they're passed, I think that stability, it'll be easier for investors to make decisions now. It's like, okay, these are the rules. These are the rules going forward. What does it mean? Because if I think about, even from a personal point of view, even if I just think about negative gearing, I think for a lot of investors, or certainly if I'm investing, yes, you might negatively gear your property, but I always think the aim is the sooner you move it to positively geared, you might be paying some tax, but that means you're making money, right? So I think some investors will be thinking about it differently when they're talking to their accountants about, okay, what does it mean for me if I can buy well and have it positively geared as soon as possible, then does it still make sense? So I think the investment markets, it's going to come back once people get used to the changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Could just be a different strategy that they're using. Instead of saving tax, it could be building wealth.
Yep.
And with the market stability and with a bit of a pause, I guess, from investors waiting for the budget to go through Parliament, our first home buyers have been very active.
Yes. Buying well, negotiating hard. And sometimes that's hard without a buyer's advocate, but a lot of our buyers do have advocates. So in many parts of the country, certainly in Melbourne and Victoria, there's a lot of good buying. So we're having a lot of happy first home buyers at the moment,
We
which is
are.
great, which we
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Okay, so that's probably enough about the market. Let's talk about actually lending. We try to
Yes.
mention some little niches that may be applicable to our customers. So there have been some policy changes with a few banks. Do you want to mention what that may mean?
Yeah. So if we just move away from our first home buyers for the moment and just go to anyone who's buying their second or third or fourth home as an owner occupier, there's been more areas where we can look at 90% lending without paying mortgage insurance. So 90% or less of the loan compared to the value of the property. And normally that means mortgage insurance once it's above 80%, but now there are some government employees who are being included in those exceptions. So no mortgage insurance for between 80 and 90%. So, we've mentioned before about doctors and lawyers and
Yeah.
nurses and
Yep.
sometimes teachers. And anyway, but now some government employees. So it's getting more competitive, and it gives us more options to save people thousands in mortgage insurance, which is great.
Which is wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
We have also been hit with a few, well, I don't even know what the word is, a few different scenarios from our customers, let's put it that way, which are a little bit outside the box, but not concerning to us. It's easy enough for us to find solutions at the moment. So do you want to mention what some of those issues may have been?
Unusual. Which one are you thinking about in particular? Is it one in particular?
Yes, I have. I've had a couple who are on a disability pension,
Oh,
for
yes.
example, who thought that they weren't able to buy, but we've been able to help them with the Help to Buy scheme. And I have another customer who is receiving TAC payments, for example. They're just
Yeah.
little outside the box kind of income that a lot of people self-assess that they can't get a loan with that stuff. So
Yeah, and it's probably one of the things I think with what we do that we enjoy is when you start as a broker. I know that's a little while ago for us, but when you
yeah,
start as a broker, I think you naturally think you need to know it all. Whereas the longer you do it, the more you realize you can never know it all, because there's so many banks and they've got so many different policies, and then they keep changing their policies. So I think one of the things that we need to be good at, or any broker needs to be good at, is the ability to say, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to go and find out. And that the ability to go and do research. And it could be with a lender that wasn't doing whatever that was 6 months ago, but now they are. So because, the policies just, keep changing. So
Yeah.
spot on. And even with some of those incomes, now that you reminded me of a couple of those different ones we've looked at, so different lenders might use that income, but then some of them might tax it, even though it's tax-free income. So the lender that might be the right one is the lender that doesn't tax it, especially when it shouldn't be taxed anyway.
Yes.
In the loan servicing, because we still need the loan size that's going to work for our customer. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been helping. Yeah, I love it when we find solutions. As you often say, it's a jigsaw puzzle that we do. So yeah, I quite like, working through all that and finding a solution for our customers. So yeah, it's been a great month actually.
Yeah, very good month. Very good month. Anything else? Anything else we need to add, or
I think we should probably just leave it at that. I think I don't want to take up too much of people's time, so let's leave it there for the moment.
Okay. Enjoy for anyone has school holidays now. Hope they're going well. And otherwise, we'll be back at the end of July.
Great.
Sounds
See you
good.
then.
Thanks,
Okay.
Ainsley.
Bye.